Hey, what's going on? Daniel here. Welcome back to another video. Today, I want to address this issue of digital nomadism, the lifestyle itself, and just answer the question simply of how sustainable the lifestyle is. I was recently just browsing through Google News, and as I usually do, I found some articles, just talking about the nomad lifestyle, because this is one of the keywords that I have on my computer, so that when new news comes out about this lifestyle, it gets delivered to my inbox, or whenever I go to my Google News homepage, it's the first thing that I see. And when I go into Google News, I have seen a lot of articles, especially in the last couple of days, just popping up left and right, talking about how the digital nomad lifestyle isn't sustainable, how a lot of people are quitting the lifestyle, going back to their old lives, going back to big cities and living life as usual. And I want to talk about what I think about it, especially with the conversations that I've been having with a lot of digital nomads, over the last couple of weeks on the podcast, in real life, and as well as just private conversations with other people who live this lifestyle full-time or almost full-time. I remember the first time when I first started traveling. I bought a one-way ticket to Mexico City, and I met so many people who had just started living this lifestyle as well, especially after COVID, and everyone just realized that they can take their work with them and they can work remotely and live in cities all across the world. And I have these conversations with people over and over again, just talking about how they intend to make that lifestyle sustainable. And a lot of the digital nomads I spoke to at the time, or that I met in person, just having coffee with, from hangouts and couch surfing events and Facebook events, they just didn't have a clear pathway. A lot of them had just saved up in some amount of money. They have runway for a few months, and they just decided to go travel because they saw someone on YouTube or on Instagram go do it. And sure enough, after a couple of months, a number of them have vanished off the surface of Earth, it seems, or even their Instagram accounts has just been set to private, or some of them just plainly deleted their Instagram accounts alongside everything else that they posted on there. And what I realized was a lot of these people that I spoke with, a lot of people who expedited straight after a few months, just decided that the lifestyle wasn't for them anymore, and they just couldn't afford it or just couldn't keep up with it, because the digital nomad lifestyle is a demanding one. It's one where you need to have your ducks in a row. You need to have your life in order, both your personal life, your mental health, your physical health, and your financial life as well. And if you look at a lot of the articles of people quitting the digital nomad lifestyle, it's almost as if a lot of them didn't have the right knowledge, the right information, or the right expectation before they started living this lifestyle. And you will hear people say things like, it was hard managing my spending. It was hard maintaining friendships. It was building a consistent routine felt like a challenge. It was hard figuring out where to go next. Or traveling by myself was challenging, but it also boosted my confidence, which is one of the things that travel does to you. But saying things like it was hard managing finances are some of the things that I want to talk about today. And just from my own personal experience, it's a lot harder than you imagine when you start traveling as a digital nomad, managing your finances, because one, you have to have a consistent income source. Now, this is not the same as when you used to work in your 9-to-5 jobs, or when you have the convenience of a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks. Now you have to figure out, where do you get your clients from if you're a freelancer, or if you want to go in this path of freelancing, what do you even do as a freelancer? And this is something that a lot of people do not necessarily figure out before they embark on this journey. And one of the things I talk about, especially when I have these private conversations, is to enlighten people, especially when they ask me, what do you do? How do you make money? Is that you need to figure out before you buy your one-way ticket, before you book any Airbnb, before you start thinking about becoming a digital nomad, you need to figure out exactly or precisely what you want to be doing to make money and how that money is going to come in. It's not a one-off thing. You can't just get a project for a few months or land a freelance client and just think that it is going to stay the same. Now, I'm going to share with you some personal experience. When I first started traveling as a digital nomad, of course, I had savings and I had my dropshipping business being my source of revenue. But all of a sudden, in just one night, everything went to shit, and I just could not believe it. I was in a strange land. I was thousands of miles away from the comfort of my home, from my friends and family, and I just could not afford a meal. It was embarrassing. It was not something that I expected, and that's even for me, coming from someone who thought he had his ducks in a row. I had my business going on. I just had my bank account shut down. I had my store shut down. Chargebacks were flying in left and right. My credit cards were being charged off. It was horrible. And that was the realization that I needed, that if I want to make this work, I need to have something. In fact, I need to have more than a plan A. I need a plan B, plan C, plan D, or plan E and F. However many plans I want to have, I needed to have those things. So when I hear people saying stuff like it was out managing my spending, of course it's going to be ad. Apart from the fact that I've talked extensively about how to save money, how to travel effectively on this channel, you can find in the playlist, I also talk about managing your finances in the sense of like, you can't do everything. For example, you are in an exotic location and you want to go on this day trips, you want to go on boat rides and doing all of the things that people do. You can't do that, especially if you don't have a financial source that is consistent, that is dependable, and that is predictable. And the next thing I hear all the time is it's hard managing friendships. Yeah, it's gonna be hard managing friendships. The whole reason why you became a digital nomad is not to go and make friends, it's to go and build experiences. And one of the experiences that you build, you'll find out very quickly that everyone is just on their own journeys. The fact that you find yourselves in the same city with someone does not mean that you have certain things in common. Of course, you may have certain things, certain interests in common, but everyone is on their own journey, and sooner or later they're going to proceed on their journey, and that's going to leave you stranded. And even if you come together and share a few drinks and have a few conversations, doing that, it's a very transactional thing. Like, you're all there to fulfill your innate desire to be with someone, to have a community. So if the fact that you are in a space with someone doesn't necessarily mean that you have anything in common with them, because you are just there to fulfill each other's desires, which is to talk to someone, to build friendships, hopefully, and to just not be alone, to not be bored. So a lot of people go out on this digital nomad journey and they just think that they will make a lot of friends, and they will find someone and go on trips with them, or they will find someone and fall in love with them. Of course, while these things are very possible, you have to keep in mind that it is not the sole reason while you are traveling. This whole reason why you're traveling is to build experiences, to go on adventures, to make friends, hopefully, and to become a better person, to find out about things about yourself that you would never have done in your hometown, in your home city, your home country. So the fact that people find this jarring come as a surprise to me, because it only highlights the lack of information that they have. For example, as a digital nomad, I still have a job to do, I still have work, I have clients to serve. And the fact that I'm in a beautiful exotic country does not necessarily mean that I want to hang out with you every day. Of course, I have work to do. I have to, cater to the needs of my clients. So if you invite me out to dinner, I may not have time to go do that with you. And that may not necessarily all go well with some people, because they expect that everyone, once they're out of the country, is on vacation. No, everyone is not on vacation. Everyone is on their own journeys for different reasons. And that's one of the things that you need to understand. Now, let's talk about building a consistent routine. That's something that a lot of people get wrong. Now I'm back in the United States. This is something I do every few months. I come back to the US, I reset, I build a consistent routine, then I go back on the road. I may be doing it longer now than I have ever done, and that's okay. But the reason why a lot of people burn out, why they go back home, is simply because they think that travel is vacation. Traveling is not vacation. Traveling is a journey, literally and figuratively. You go on a journey to find yourself, to learn about yourself. Like I said earlier, it is not the fact that you are in a beach town doesn't necessarily mean that you go to the beach every day. It doesn't necessarily mean that you go out and go watch sunsets every day. Of course, maybe you can build your routine around it. Maybe you can learn ways through which you can do your work faster, more efficiently, so that it leaves time for you to go do these other things. But at the end of the day, you need to realize that sometimes you have work to do, sometimes you have projects to complete, and you're not going to be going on adventures anytime soon. And one of the reasons through which you can build a routine is to just structure your travel in such a way that it leaves you time. For example, I say that if you want to travel well, more efficiently, affordably, cost effectively, make sure you're traveling for long periods of time. You will never find me jumping from country to country. I can't do it. I tried it. It's not my style. But a lot of people want to do that because they want to have the feeling of saying that, oh, they've been to 60 countries in the last 1 year. That doesn't help anyone. Definitely not me. So if you want to not burn out anytime soon, you need to structure your travel in such a way that it leaves you time to build routine. You get back to a new country. For me, sometimes I go back to countries that I've been before many times because I get to these countries, I know people there, I've built a routine, I know where to go, it feels familiar. A lot of the streets I've walked before, a lot of the restaurants I've eaten before, a lot of the bars, I know exactly what they serve. The bartenders know me, the coffee, the barista people know me. So going back to these places feels less of a stress than going to a new country every single time. So travel is different for everyone. Don't let anyone try to pressure you into doing things that you wouldn't otherwise do. Find out your own style of travel and stick with it. And all of the stories that you see online, you won't even feel it. It just becomes a matter of what are they talking about, right? So this is the way that I love to travel, and this is the way that I preach travel as a digital nomad, is to find what works for you and stick to that thing so that you won't be a victim of this kind of stories that people talk about on their blogs and YouTube, where they cry, oh, travel digital nomadism is is a scam, this and that. You need to have the right expectations, and in this video I hope to enlighten people and to just give them the right information, right expectation for when they start traveling as a digital nomad. Right now I'm back in the United States. I'll be here for a while, a couple of months maybe, and I love it. I don't necessarily have to build that identity around being a digital nomad, because that's also one thing that a lot of people do. They build an identity of digital nomadism around their entire life, or they build their entire life around that identity, and it becomes hard to separate their private life or their personal life from that identity that they built around digital nomadism online. I don't have that problem. I don't care if I'm in one location for 6 months or for a year, as long as I keep travel as part of my life indefinitely. That's all that matters to me. I know that's something I love doing, and I'm going to do it regardless, whether I do it every few months or every few weeks or every few days or every few years. So you just have to realize what types of travel work for you and just stick with it. I hope this video has been helpful. My name is Daniel. If you want to check out some of the resources I use to travel, check out the links in the description. I really appreciate it. Of course, I get some kickback from it as well. Again, I'm Daniel, and I will talk to you in the next video. Take care now. Bye.